Yes, ready? 7:30, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Twenty-one supervisors are present. Supervisors Stock and Franco are excused.
Citizen comments. Is there any citizen that wish to speak? Please state your name and address.
Mary Magdalene Moser, 2106 73rd Street. Before this County Board of Supervisors took office, the previous board had voted to declare that racism is a public health crisis. I have a lot of questions about that. Now, before everyone loses their minds, I'm not questioning the existence of racism, but I am here tonight to tell all of you that the topic of racism and how any governmental body should address racism really ought to stay as far away as possible from the concept and implementation of public health laws, and here's why. Some of the greatest atrocities of the modern era were all committed legally in the name of public health and with the stated goal of promoting the common good. Here's just two examples. The Third Reich implemented its final solution to the Jewish problem by incrementally, over time, passing public health law after public health law to promote the public health of the glorious citizens of the fatherland. These laws included banning smoking and assisting the suicides of the old, infirm, and mentally disabled, until at last they got to the logical conclusion of the fake pseudoscience known as eugenics and enacted racial hygiene laws, public health laws that resulted in the extermination of 6 million Jewish people. Again, all done legally in the name of public health and with the stated goal of promoting the common good. But before that horror even happened, the United States Supreme Court, in the landmark decision Buck v. Bell, which incidentally is 100% based on the now discredited junk science of eugenics, authorized the governmental sterilization of those deemed unfit to reproduce because, as Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. wrote in the majority opinion, quote, 3 generations of imbeciles is enough, end quote. You're probably wondering just who decided which people were unfit to reproduce and therefore needed to be sterilized in order to protect the rest from another generation of imbeciles. Why, none other than your county health department. And to that end, more than 6 million American citizens were forcibly sterilized by public health departments across our nation between 1927 and 1981. And all of them without their consent, and most of them without their knowledge. And once again, this unspeakable atrocity was committed legally in the name of public health and with the goal of promoting the common good. In light of those truth bombs, I hope you can appreciate my skepticism with respect to tasking our county health department with anything having to do with race or subjective determinations by staff of citizens' fitness. I am especially unwilling to trust any public health department or official after surviving the COVID debacle. Does everyone here remember when our moronic governor established a COVID compliance tip line in 2020 that was nothing other than a Soviet-style snitch line that he encouraged Wisconsinites to report and turn in their family, friends, and neighbors who dared defy the mandates issued by the public health department? I do. I remember that. And it makes me even more skeptical of involving the public health department in anything race-related. What's the end game of declaring racism a public health crisis here in Kenosha County? Does this mean that any random jerk who hates me, and there is no shortage of them out there, can call the public health department and report me as a racist? And if that's the protocol, then what? Do I get a knock on my door from a nurse or a sheriff and have to endure a struggle session where if only I admit to the crime of being a racist, then I'll be released? Given what we all saw across our country during COVID, don't any one of you pretend that that situation is off the table or couldn't possibly happen in America. 6 million forcibly sterilized Americans would beg to differ with that conclusion. Yes, racism exists, but it is absolutely not a public health crisis, and our public health department must stay far, far away from anything involving race. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen wish to speak?
Steve Janiak, 7803 28th Avenue, Kenosha. Hello, my name again is Steve, and I am the president of Kenosha Area Mountain Bike Association, or CAMBA as we call ourselves. We're a nonprofit working in Kenosha County. And I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to the county for all that you've done and all that we have done together to bring mountain biking trails to Petrifying Springs Park. We've had a similar arrangement with Silver Lake Park for the last 7 years where we've built and maintained mountain bike trails there. And that's been going really well. And Silver Lake is a well-established and frequently visited trail system by local mountain bikers and has become a destination for people to travel from far away to ride our trails. From summer trails to winter fat biking, Silver Lake has built a reputation for being a great destination for beginner and intermediate riders, and the trail parking lots are full almost every weekend with bikers. We want pets to be equally as successful, and we are excited to have gotten through this first phase of new trail. To mountain bikers, we want pets to be viewed as more of a destination for intermediate to advanced riders, featuring more difficult trails and features. Of course, pets will still have multi-use trails and several trails for beginners. We want both trail systems to cater to riders of all ages, skill levels, and abilities. CAMBA helps maintain both trail systems with trimming, leaf blowing, and rebuilding when the trails are damaged from erosion or fallen trees. On June 2nd, there was a grand opening of the new multi-use trails and phase 1 of the mountain bike trails at Petrifying Springs. Some of you might have been there, and thank you for coming out. You probably saw some of the photos in the paper or social media or anywhere else. We had a great turnout from the community. We probably had at least 50 people there on bikes and runners, and it felt like a really great success. We invited a number of local bike shops, and as well as NICA, which is the National Interscholastic Cycling Association. Their high school racing team came out, and they created a mini skills course for folks to ride, as well as playing games like bike soccer. CAMBA also offered group rides to both advanced and beginner riders that day, which gave them a glimpse of the new trails and explained what some of the planned trails are for the future. We even had one individual who was paralyzed from the waist down reach out to us about riding the trails on his, what he calls an adaptive e-mountain bike. It's a 3-wheeled bike and powered by a battery, but he pedals with his hands. We've been working with him to widen certain spots on the trails where his 3-wheeled bike doesn't quite fit so that he can enjoy some more of the challenging trails. The first phase of the MTB trail at Pets was a result of many hours of planning on the part of the county, as well as CAMBA working alongside with the county to make that happen. CAMBA volunteers alone dedicated more than 1,500 hours over the last 3 years and dug much of the first 3 trails by hand with shovels, hose, and rakes. We're happy to announce we've started a fundraising effort to raise about $4,000 at Silver Lake to build a skills park at Silver Lake Park. And hopefully within this next month, that project starts. As a Kenosha native, I've enjoyed exploring the woods of Pets as a kid many, many times, and I always loved taking my kids there to do the same thing. That's why this project is so special to me, knowing that we are building trails and memories for generations to come. Again, thank you for supporting CAMBA and this partnership, and we hope that it continues to grow.
Thank you. Any other supervisor comments? Sorry, citizen.
Hi, Todd Hauser, 6622 24th Avenue. Good evening, everyone. I'm the vice president of CAMBA. Steve and I have been a part of the trail building crew at Petrifying Springs since the signing of the MOU with Parkside and Kenosha County. And we've been working with Kenosha County Parks throughout. And so like Steve, I'd like to thank all of the familiar faces who came out to celebrate the grand opening of the trails on June 2nd. And also a thank you to Lisa Byron from the Kenosha Running Club for coordinating the trail run that while we were doing also a group bike ride as well. So our trail builders who work out there don't really like to receive recognition. They would rather just build, but it was great to see them have so many people using the trails all at once and to see their hard work pay off. So I just want to tell you a little bit about the work that we do and sort of the philosophy that we do it under. So we have work nights sometimes with things like NICA teams that extend to 20 or 30 people building trail and getting the kids involved. But the core of our work is done by about 6 to 8 very invested volunteers who account for anywhere between 16 and 30 volunteer hours each week, which that might not seem like a lot of people, but if you need help moving a couch, good luck finding 2. Personally, I'm very proud of this group of trail builders, especially the work done by Dustin Yanis, who coordinates all of our work nights for us. He's in District 1, by the way, so friends over there. And also John Landre, who coordinated the work in the first year when we were started building during COVID. I hope as county officials you all see the quality of work that we as volunteer trail builders are trying to accomplish out there. And we, as a group, we're very excited to be partnering with the Kenosha County and the Kenosha County Parks in Petrifying Springs and also on the land leased from UW Parkside. And I'll leave you with 2 aphorisms that I've been thinking about a lot lately when it comes to trail building. The first one is a quote that floats around trail building a lot, and it is, "Humans don't need trails. Nature needs trails." Petrifying Springs is the flagship park of the Kenosha County Park System, and it deserves to have high-quality trails that manage the human traffic rather than react to where humans might want to go. The property is full of valuable species that need to be protected, and having networks of named trails like we're building and published maps of where to go will help us along the way to getting to that. And my second little aphorism, I'm adapting from Warren Buffett, who says the best length of time to hold a stock is forever. And that's how we feel about trails. Trails should be built to last forever. We are building our trails sustainably so that they don't cause erosion and that we can protect those important species that are in pets and Parkside. As Steve said, some of these trails are going to be quite difficult. They're going to have difficulty ratings that go quite high. And I will crash and bruise myself often, but that doesn't mean that they won't be sustainable. It means that we'll be able to protect the species that we want to protect and not cause a ton of erosion. So while now at the moment, though, many of the trails that we find in the woods were created for humans, by humans, and not for nature, so we're doing our best to create trails that will last in Petrifying Springs for a lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments?
Go ahead, ma'am.
Please state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Pamela Mundling. I live at 7327 11th Avenue, beautiful Kenosha. Just a couple of things I want to touch on that are totally classless, in my opinion. One is somebody who had access to private emails and phone numbers of committee members, released them publicly on Facebook, and that was totally classless. I noticed that if they had a county or city of Kenosha email address, that was in there, but if it was they didn't, then their private email and phone number was released. The other is when we're doing the Pledge of Allegiance or a moment of silence, that is not the time to be handling administrative stuff and moving about the room, whether you're in the supervisor section or the gallery. If you can't do the Pledge of Allegiance, you can just stand or sit there quietly while the rest of us do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please state your name and address.
My name is Marita Huff. I live at 7939 34th Avenue. I'm here tonight because I saw in the newspaper that Renewable Future for Kenosha is going to be on the agenda. I don't know exactly what that's going to involve, but I know that Supervisor Bashaw's been working on it for a while, and I'm in favor of anything that has to do with anything green, renewable. I was green when it was called conservation for as long as I can remember. So anyway, I was going to harangue you for a while about green causes and green statistics, and I figure either you know that stuff or you don't want to know it, so let's skip that. Back in April on at Gateway, they had can't think of the Earth Day event. And this year I thought I would have a display on how to save the forests of Canada. They're cutting down 1 million acres of boreal forest to make toilet paper. Well, I came from central Wisconsin, and they had acres and acres of pine trees that were planted for that purpose, and I thought that's where all of our paper products were coming from, and it just irritated me to think that this wonderful boreal forest was being cut down for stupid things like that. And so now I feel really stupid because we have forest fires going on up there that have decimated 8.8 million hectares of forest in Canada, not counting what's going on in western United States and Siberia, and the diminishment of the tropic forest by years and decades of logging and farming there. And so these trees are kind of our last best friend. So about 10 days ago, I was looking up at the sky, and it was brown. And I started to cry like a baby, because I thought, that's the sky my grandchildren are going to get to look at if we don't do something. 10 years ago, scientists said that we might be able to curb climate change if we do something before our temperature rises 1.5 degrees Celsius. Well, we might hit that this year. That's not 10 years. It's like 5 years ago they said that. They said in 10 years, we may have 10 years to do it. Well, we haven't done much. We've made some plans that we haven't implemented. A lot of people are ignoring the problem. Oil companies have known for decades what they were doing, and they didn't care. I don't know what planet they thought their grandchildren were going to live on. But tonight, you have a chance to do something. We need massive, impressive work, but tonight, maybe we can take baby steps. Maybe we can do something, because doing something is better than doing nothing. And maybe we can save our little part of the climate here in Kenosha County. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen wish to speak?
Tamara Weber, 5122 23rd Place. When I first started attending the REEC commission meetings, I was the only citizen in attendance. When I saw what a clown show the meetings were among the appointed, like-minded members of the commission, I encouraged some of my friends to attend with me, which they did. Nothing productive was taking place, and this was apparent when that commission presented their first report. We now have a commission made up of members with differing opinions, thoughts, and experiences. But this commission has been hijacked, and members of the public, led by one of the commissioners, is trying to completely derail this commission by organizing to keep uncomfortable, hateful, racist pressure on members of the volunteer citizen commissioners that they do not like. As witnessed last week Thursday, members of the community, some that I've never seen at one of these meetings before, came, in my opinion, to heckle, name call, intimidate, try and provoke and air out grievances with members of the volunteer citizen commissioners. Then, I witnessed an elected official on this commission arrive after the meeting started with his young, impressionable child in tow. He completely lost his temper during the meeting. I am all for respectful debating, but when an angry outburst ensues with a young child present, and that child looks like she's about to cry, this commission is now being used as a political tool. And when another member of the commission tried to look out for this child's well-being, he was told, she's used to it. That's disgusting. This commission needs to be dissolved as Kenosha County Thrive is in place. This REC commission is not needed. Kenosha County Thrive, a community-guided effort to assess the needs of Kenosha County in order to keep us healthy and thriving. Kenosha County Thrive is a data-driven plan to continue improvements to Kenosha County's quality of life. The 3 action groups that were determined in a recent vote by community stakeholders are access to affordable health care, mental health, drug and alcohol use, affordable housing. Volunteer action groups are working throughout the summer of 2023 to develop plans for improvement in each of these areas. Kenosha County Thrive is focusing on some of the areas that the REEC was tasked with focusing on, so duplication is not needed. Again, this REC commission is not needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen wish to speak? Any other citizen wish to speak? Any other citizen wish to speak? Seeing none, citizen comments are closed. Okay, just a comment. Just want to say that JJ Castro from Joint Services has joined us tonight. Welcome, JJ. Supervisor reports. Any supervisors wish to speak? Supervisor Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All of us read about the recent meeting of the committee dealing with the issues of racism and equality in Kenosha. And I was quite disappointed to read that the proposal before the committee was to change the name of an award honoring Jenny Tunkeys, who was the former chief of staff for Jim Cruiser, who I think did a very excellent job. I just want to express the opinion that the committee has no such authority to change the name of any award. Those who think they do need to reread the mission statement that limits the authority of the committee. And if you look at that mission statement, they certainly have their hands full and plenty to do without getting sidetracked on the issue of an award and what we call that award. There is supposed to be a meeting this Thursday evening. Perhaps it will be a controversial one, but I would like to request, Mr. Chairman, a legal opinion from the Corporation Counsel on this very issue of what is the authority of that committee to deal with the naming of an award now called the Jenny Tunkeys Award, and to remind them that what is their authority and what is the mission statement and the limitations of that authority. I would hope that the Corporation Counsel could issue that opinion before the Thursday meeting so that the meeting can be far more productive than I think it will be if that opinion is not issued by then. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Berg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Speaking on a Racial and Ethnic Equity Commission, we did meet last week, and the one motion that was made and approved was the postponing of the award. We are already late. It was supposed to be awarded in April. It was moved to postpone it, not to a specific date, but it was moved to postpone it. And for anybody in the community, there is going to be transportation available to anybody that is interested in going to the Racial and Ethnic Equity Commission that cannot make it via their own vehicle or lack thereof vehicle. And they are more than welcome to reach out to myself and or Anthony Kennedy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Supervisor Nordigan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Public Works Committee met at Pringle in Bristol Woods on June 21st. And I've got some of the newest updates that part of that meeting as well as from that, because it's been a while since we met. So I wanted to get everyone up to date. And I've got, well, it's not terribly long, but here we go. Highway A and Y roundabout. It is open to traffic. Contractor will be replacing temporary streetlight poles with permanent poles at the end of summer. It's because it was about 1 month ahead of schedule when it was completed, so they got ahead of the lighting. So it is now open. Highway K, the roadway is open to traffic. Work of restoration and multi-use paths still outstanding. The intersection of C and U, there's a planned public information meeting tomorrow at the KCC from 5 to 7, an open house type form. Construction tentatively scheduled to begin in early August. That'll be a 4-way stop, I believe. County EM out in Twin Lakes, that project has substantially completed and open to traffic. Contractors working on punch list items. The long-awaited construction of State Highway 50, 118th Ave, 43rd Avenue. Project is complete and open to traffic. If you don't already know that, it is. And the contractor is working on a punch list items. Highway 50 in Paddock Lake, east of 236th Avenue. The traffic has switched to the new pavement while the contractor constructs westbound lanes. County Highway KD, south of Highway 50, that's been completed. Resurfacing by highway crews, have been completed, as well as County Highway O has been completed. County KD, north of Highway 50, is resurfacing by the highway crews is underway. Moving to parks, the Kenosha County Veterans Memorial Park Restroom Memorial Shelter is progressing along. The Kemper revetment replacement, we're evaluating the funding sources on that. The Kemper Center utilization plan, this is a study that's being done, and it will continue through 2023. They've received about 400 completed responses to the questionnaire. Durkee roof replacement, construction is underway. It's anticipated the construction will be completed by early August. This is probably one of the newest things coming out that I don't think we've experienced in county, but it's the park wheelchairs. These are accessible wheelchairs to, right now it is housed at Pringle Nature Preserve. I believe they can go through the process, though, of picking it up themselves and taking it to any one of our parks or wherever to use it. It is a incredible piece of equipment for anyone who wants to go out and try it. I think this information will be sent along to the clerk so we can get it posted, if it isn't already posted, on where to go if anybody would like to use this all-access wheelchair and it's really for those who are mobile, have issues with mobility, to be able to utilize our parks. And it's coming through an agreement with Accessibility Wisconsin. There's no county money involved in this. And I believe renting it's free too, although there might be a deposit. So, Petrifying Springs Park Pavilion number 5 repairs. The bids are due August 1st with work tentatively scheduled to begin this fall and early spring. In the facilities, the courthouse washroom remodel, 3rd floor women's and 2nd floor men's. Construction of the women's restroom has been substantially completed. Construction on 2nd floor men's tentatively beginning August 1st. The KCAB heat pump replacement phase 5. Work on the 1st floor water furnace heat pump started on June 5th. Public safety building is removed due to payback results of the solar power. You're going to see that anywhere that we were evaluating solar power. We have removed that because of the extreme length of time of the payback on that. Public safety building boiler control units, construction has begun. The PSB and PDF fire system device replacement, phase 1. Anticipate construction to begin mid-August. Civic Center parking lot, PDF conveyance parking structure lots have been completed. Patching repairs to the courthouse parking lot are underway. Exterior building renovation, Molinaro, KCAB, KCCH, work targeting entranceways, doors, various marble, stone steps, and wall repairs. This phase focuses on the KCAB east entry by replacing the tile entry step, concrete, and secure entry door. County Center under the Human Services, the KCC infrared heating unit replacement phase 1 has been substantially completed. Again, on the evaluation of adding solar power to KCC, that's been removed because of the payback. We will not be doing that. Brookside removed their solar power as well to the roof because of the extremely long payback time. And Brookside fire protection piping modification. Costs were higher than bids, but we are able to get some of the work done this year. Working with purchasing, a modified scope of work has been awarded in the amount of $85,000 this year. This portion of work will consist of the demo and installation of piping and sprinkler heads in the 100, 200, and 300 halls, material and testing for both phases of work. The balance of the work, which is $44,900, shall be contingent on the approval of the 2024 budget. Golf, estimated rounds through early June this year is 38,000 rounds. In 2022, it was 32,000 rounds, so a lot of golf happening. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Geschke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee met this past Wednesday, July 12th, and I just have a few brief updates on items that will not be coming before our board tonight. First of all, we had a feature presentation from Vijay Pandian, our horticulture educator, and he was specifically highlighting the work that he has been doing on a antioxidant small fruit trial program. So if you're ever out at KCC at the county center at Highway 45 and 50, you're more than welcome to look at some of the raised beds that he's been working on, trying out different berries, gooseberries, raspberries, currants, so on and so forth, and testing what would be appropriate for this growing region, as well as highlighting the health benefits of some of those produce. As far as UW Extension goes, a few more updates. We do have a new community development educator. Her name is Savannah, and she's just been in her role for about a week, and so she's currently in her onboarding and training position, but we're thankful to have that role filled, and excited to have her transitioning into this position. Food-wise, we are continuing to reach out and partner with other organizations throughout the community and having community conversations. This past year, there's about 2,800 participants through the Food-wise training program through UW Extension, so that's been highly utilized and very helpful and successful. Youth mental health first aid training by Mary Metten coming up. Mary's also been doing some financial training throughout the community. Our 4-H educator, Carolyn, has been working hard in the summer, especially with camps, both day camps and overnight camps, and gearing up for our county fair coming up in about a month or so. Those are a few highlights from our UW Extension. Just two quick highlights from the land use items that will not be coming before us tonight. One is a conditional use permit for TLS property management. This is, I believe it's the old Sly Fox, if I'm remembering the name correctly. And we passed a conditional use permit to allow some outdoor seating and some speakers for music, and kind of a cigar smoking area off to the side in a different area. So it's good to see that property being utilized in the near future here. Also, we passed a conditional use permit for Action 50 LLC, a new pool and spa business will be going in there. Actually, it's not a new business. It's a business it's a small local business that's been being operated out of a home, and now they've grown to the point where they're able to utilize this space. And so again, we're thankful for that development on this underutilized property as well. There'll be a few more appointments and some other land use items coming before us later on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Gans.
Thank you. To Supervisor Nordigan, I'm not very up on this, so I just, in listening to your report, I had a question. So in 2 or 3 of the items, there was a removal of solar panels because it would take too long the payback time was, well, isn't the payback time for putting them up? I mean, it doesn't cost anything to use solar. Why would you take them down once you've already spent the money to put them up? I don't know that I'm tracking with what that explanation was. Could you enlighten me?
I'm sorry, they weren't installed. We were evaluating whether we want to install them.
Okay.
But the payback would be over 20 years.
Okay,
So.
all right.
All right.
I thought they were already up there and you're
Oh, yeah,
taking them
no.
off, and I'm like,
No,
well,
we
what the
wouldn't do
heck are
that.
you? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
No. Right.
Thank you. Any other supervisors? Supervisor Bashaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of the Broadband Committee, I'd like to give an update on our meeting from last week, Thursday. The Broadband Committee was presented a number of opportunities to apply ARPA funds toward improving safety, security, and accessibility in a number of our parks, including Kemper Center, Silver Lake Park, Old Settlers Park. As everyone is aware, these are exceptional areas in our community that are enjoyed by a large volume of people. These are very costly properties, specifically Kemper Center, as well as the new pavilion at Old Settlers and our properties out at Silver Lake. We also have a lot of risk in these park areas, including water and property damage and other things that can happen. So the Commission has approved the expenditure of up to $378,000 of ARPA funds toward bringing improvements to the broadband capability through pulling cables, introducing Wi-Fi into the parks, and in addition to that, we'll be introducing security cameras and the ability to maintain safety and security in a better manner. Another comment, personal side as well as board side, to Supervisor Nordigan with regard to your committee. I had an experience on the road last week that was profound. We have invested in safe bike trails throughout the county. I was heading eastbound on Highway K at approximately the exact same point that a young woman was run over by a truck a couple of months before that, riding her bicycle when she cut in front of the semi, was dragged down the road and off the road, and you know the demise. Approximately the exact same spot, a person on a bicycle riding on an extremely narrow lane, struggling to get up the hill. I had slowed because I could see a line of motorcycles coming because it was Harley weekend, and I was down to about 40 miles an hour when suddenly he lost his balance right in front of my truck. We cannot have bicycles safely sharing and communing with vehicles that are traveling at high speeds. Fortunately, I wasn't, and I was able to stop. The kid got himself righted and kept on going. Never probably knew what actually happened. My heart knows, and my head knows. But having bicycles in the same lanes as vehicles that are going 55, 60, 70 miles an hour, we're just inviting hazard in this county. So I ask of you if your team would, or your committee would take up the cause and evaluate where and why we have bicycle trails in certain areas. My personal opinion, the county is setting itself up for trouble by inviting people to ride in a haphazard and dangerous manner. And that was only one. I saw somebody hit on a bicycle right over here on Highway 50 the next day. So it's dangerous. Cars and bicycles have very differing purposes, so I ask you to please look into it.
Thank you. Any other supervisors? Any other supervisors? Any other supervisors? Seeing none, supervisor comments are closed.
County executive appointments. 18, Daniel Gashke to serve on the Racine Kenosha Community Action Agency Board.
Refer to Human Services Committee.
19, Lieutenant Keith Funk to serve on the Traffic Safety Commission.
Refer to Public Works Committee.
New Business Resolution 31 from the Legislative Committee and Supervisor Bashaw, a resolution on a renewable future for Kenosha County, encouraging the strategic development of renewable energy resources in Kenosha County and requesting the state legislature to identify sustainable strategies for such development that maintains the natural character and environment of the state of Wisconsin. This passed at committee 4-3 with Supervisors Wamble, Berg, Gashke, and Uhas voting aye, Supervisors Thomas, Poole, and Ned Wesky voting nay.
Supervisor Uhas.
Mr. Chairman, I move Resolution 31.
Moved by Supervisor Uhas, second by Supervisor Berg. Supervisor Uhas.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to defer to the author of the resolution, Supervisor Bashaw.
Supervisor Bashaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Supervisor Uhas. I've said a lot about this resolution over the last few months, so I'm not going to belabor all of it. But let me touch a couple of points. It says a resolution on a renewable future for Kenosha County. We no longer have a power plant in town, but we do now have a massive solar farm. That's renewable energy. This resolution doesn't focus on whether we should or shouldn't have renewable energy. That's not my purpose in bringing this. My purpose is to engender a conversation that says, how do we utilize renewable energy in a responsible, intelligent, and practical manner, not consuming thousands of acres of our prime farmland for solar panels, not encumbering our county such that those same thousands of acres are essentially removed from inventory for the next 30 to 50 years for possible growth, development, or other opportunities. A person asked, what about those landowners? Shouldn't they have the opportunity to make that decision for themselves? Yes, they should have the opportunity to utilize the land and to make a great living off of that property, which I'm sure they are. But in doing so, we're underwriting the cost of having that utility on their property. In other words, we're creating an incentive. What the resolution basically asks is for the state and others to consider how can we apply solar in a manner that is rational, reasonable, preserves our environment, preserves our community, as well as utilizing a technology that is not going away. It is ubiquitous in our market at this point. It is going to continue growing because we've put tremendous amounts of energy and effort behind it. I know there's been a lot of effort put in by individuals to ensure that this resolution does not go forward. I appreciate differing opinions. I appreciate individuals with the cognizant ability to reason, understand, and to make a decision that is their own. I don't appreciate arm twisting, coercion, twisting of truths, and at times, absolute fabrications of truth. Those I don't appreciate. So I ask you, as you start thinking about how you're going to vote tonight, and I know many of you have made your minds up, if not all of you at this point. There's a core character trait called integrity. Integrity is something that each of us stand on by ourselves. Integrity demands that we investigate the information, the insights. We bring an intellectual approach to understanding and then make a decision that is based in truth, that's based in reason, that's fundamentally based in integrity. I ask you to vote your conscience. As I tell folks, My conscience is always first and foremost because my integrity is what I've worked to preserve my entire career, my entire life. Because at the end of the day, I go to bed with one person, and that's me. And if my integrity is impugned, that affects my conscience. So I ask you to vote your conscience, not someone else's. I ask you to make a vote for this resolution, a vote that's thoughtful, based on rational installation, rational application of a technology that is now in our environment, not consuming acres and acres of farmland. And I am not impugning Parasolar. I go to meetings with them, and they are doing an exceptional job of the project that is in front of them. They have turned a lot of land back to agricultural use that they thought they were going to be utilizing, and trying to give it back to productive use in the community as quickly as possible. So Parasolar is doing a great job with the project that they have. The question is, should we be consuming mass amounts of acreage when we could be leveraging other opportunities by encouraging the application of solar in an intelligent way? I ask you to make a vote for Kenosha County, for our rich heritage of business and agriculture, and to building our future. So, thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Belsky.
Thank you, Chairman Nudo. First and foremost, I am a property owner of responsible renewable energy. I have owned a property in Colorado for 10 years. We're on 40 acres. And when we went out there with a conscious effort to live off grid. So I totally support renewable energy. I have several comments regarding the line items that are not identified in this resolution. The resolution does not identify the high cost of solar trash and the need for financial incentives to invest in recycling. It does not identify the toxic and hazardous waste from solar panels like cadmium and lead and the expensive restrictions this classification carries with it, and the need for mandatory recycling versus going into landfills and polluting the soil and water with toxic chemicals. The resolution focuses on Kenosha County's current and future business developments, encouraging that they utilize rooftop solar farms so that tracts of agricultural lands are not used for renewable energy or solar farms, whereas Pheasant Run landfill in Paris, approximately 900 acres, could have been encouraged in this resolution to utilize its grassed-over, capacity-filled sections of land for solar farms, as it has very few possible functionalities in the future. It does not identify, this resolution does not identify, that 88% of solar panels and components are made in the Asia and China, where forced human labor is practiced to reduce expenses, thereby encouraging where we should thereby encourage consumers to buy American-made solar panels. As of 2023, the federal solar investment tax credit went from 26% to 10% this year. Our county could remove many of these barriers to widespread solar adoption and make solar energy more affordable and accessible for our residents and businesses through proper planning and potential county rebates. The resolution identifies business development in Kenosha as robust. Commercial real estate should not be singled out. I spoke with Democratic elected state officials and city officials about this resolution, and they said they would not vote for this resolution as it singles out business development versus encouragement of utilization by applying it to everyone. Solar energy is an important and complex topic that requires urban planning to ensure a balance between conservation aims and solar energy production. As a legislative body, we should be taking action versus creating a feel-good or symbolic resolution that has no value other than a talking point. We should be legislating those things that are important to us. I will be voting no on this resolution.
Thank you. Any other supervisors? Supervisor Nedwesky.
Through the chair to Supervisor Nordigan, could you just repeat again the bit about the solar panels being removed from project plans, from the plans, and why they were removed? And these were county plans.
The solar panels were removed from the plan of installing them, purchasing and installing them from the 3 facilities because of the long payback. For the county, it's excessive of 20 years to pay back the savings that it would give us to the current cost of installing them.
So what you're saying is they determined it wasn't worth the price up front.
Yeah, and I want to be careful here. That's true. We
The-
have
the
public
payback
money.
period was
We
too
have
long.
public money that we're in charge of, and that's what we have to be careful of. Anybody private want to do it, it's all on their own, and I'm not, necessarily saying, but yes, it is a long payback for
Okay.
us.
Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other supervisor? Any other supervisor? Any other supervisor? Seeing none, all in favor? Oops, hold on. Sorry. Supervisor Gersten, sorry, I didn't see that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to amend the resolution. On line 20, the second line, take out the 2 words "and promote," and add a codicil number 29, be it further resolved that this resolution shall sunset 1 year after its effective date. And if I get a second, I'll speak to the motion.
Is that a second? Is that a second? There's no second, so anything else, Supervisor Gersten?
There's no second,
There's
so,
no second.
okay, thank you.
Okay, roll call. All in favor of the resolution, vote yes. Opposed, vote no.
Resolution passes 11 to 10. 11 yes, 10 no. Resolution 32 from the Executive Committee, Vice Chair Decker and Supervisors Rodriguez and Poole, a resolution recognizing July 2023 as Parks and Recreation Month. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Caro excused.
Supervisor Decker.
Sorry, move resolution 32.
Moved by Vice Chair Decker, second by Supervisor Rose. Vice Chair Decker.
This resolution is a resolution recognizing July 2023 as Parks and Recreation Month. It, and we also, it asks it encourages citizens to enjoy the beauty of Kenosha County's parks throughout July and the entire year.
Any supervisor comments? Any supervisor comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
Resolution 33 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, a resolution for David DeVito to serve on the Kenosha County Zoning Board of Adjustments. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Caro excused.
Supervisor Geschke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Resolution 33.
Moved by Supervisor Geschke, second by Supervisor Bashaw. Supervisor Geschke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. DeVito would be reappointed to this position. His professional background and expertise have served him well in this role. Our committee unanimously approved this, and we ask for your support to be reappointed again tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Any supervisor comments? Any supervisor comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Oppose? Passes.
Resolution 34 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Andy Bueller to serve on the Kenosha County Land Information Council. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Caro excused.
Supervisor Geschke.
Thank you. I move Resolution 34.
Moved by Supervisor Geschke, second by Supervisor Kubicki. Supervisor Geschke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our committee also asks for your support of Mr. Bueller to be reappointed to the Land Information Council. It is a policy that the Director of Development serves in this role. Mr. Bueller's served well, and we ask for his continued support tonight.
Okay. Any supervisor comments? Any supervisor comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Oppose? Passes.
Resolution 35 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Sean Smith to serve on the Kenosha County Land Information Council. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Caro excused.
Supervisor Geschke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Resolution 35.
Moved by Supervisor Geschke, second by Supervisor Bashaw. Supervisor Geschke.
Thank you. This also would be a reappointment of Mr. Smith to serve on the County Land Information Council. I believe he serves as chair of this council. He's been serving well in this role. He has our committee's support, and we ask for yours tonight.
Any supervisor comments? Any supervisor comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Oppose? Passes.
Resolution 36 from Public Works and Facilities and Finance and Administration Committees, a resolution to authorize sale of Highway F remnant parcels. This passed unanimously at both committees. Supervisor Caro, Thomas, Franco, and Stocker excused.
Supervisor Nordigan.
Move Resolution 36.
Moved by Supervisor Nordigan, second by Supervisor Rose. Supervisor Nordigan.
There's 4 parcels that were left over. These are substantial sized parcels that were left over after the realignment of Highway F. 2 of them are in Twin Lakes, 2 of them are in the town of Randall. And we'd like to get them put up for sale and get them back on the tax rolls.
Any supervisor comments? Any supervisor comments? Supervisor Carroll.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Nudo. Just want to let the board know that I'm going to be abstaining on this. Exhibit B, Memorandum of Understanding for Donna Caro is my mother, and that involves parcel A and B, so I'm going to abstain from voting on this.
Thank you. Any other supervisors? Any other supervisors? Seeing none, all in favor? Roll call.
Resolution passes, 20 yes. Supervisor Caro abstaining. Resolution 37 from the Public Works and Facilities and Finance and Administration Committees, a resolution to accept the Community Development Block Grant to support the 2023 Kemper Center Building Exterior Restoration Project. This passed unanimously at both committees with Supervisor Caro, O'Day, Franco, and Stocker excused.
Supervisor Nordigan.
Move Resolution 37.
Moved by Supervisor Nordigan, second by Supervisor Rose. Supervisor Nordigan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a CDBG, I think it's grant from, looks like the city of Kenosha is $33,675 to amend a budget to go for a budget modification to accept this amount for the Kemper Center. That offers some multiple public amenities. It's an historic mansion, art museum, and the like. So appreciate everyone approving this for us.
Any supervisor comments? Any supervisor comments? This requires 2/3 vote, so we'll have a roll call.
Resolution 37 passes unanimously with 21 votes. Resolution 38 from the Public Works and Facilities and Finance and Administration Committees, a resolution authorizing the Director of Highways to accept $50,000 from Silver Lake Solar, Wisconsin for highway reconditioning along County Trunk Highway K, just east of County Trunk Highway W. This passed unanimously at both committees. Supervisors Carroll, O'Day, Franco, and Stocker excused.
Supervisor Nordgren.
I move Resolution 38.
Moved by Supervisor Nordgren, second by Supervisor Rose. Supervisor Nordgren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a $50,000 agreement that we have made with the contractor of the One Energy, I believe is the contractor's name, that is going to be developed at Silver Lake Solar Farm, and it's going to be for reimbursement of potential damage to County K. And look forward to everyone's support on this. Thank you.
Any supervisor comments? Any supervisor comments? This one also requires 2/3 vote, so we'll have a roll call.
Resolution 38 passes unanimously with 21 votes. Resolution 39 from the Finance and Administration Committee, a resolution authorizing and providing for the issuance of not to exceed $16,035,000 general obligation promissory notes, providing for the notification and sale of said notes and other related details. This passed unanimously at committee with Supervisors Stocker and Franco excused.
Supervisor Rose.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the Finance Committee, I would move the resolution.
Moved by Supervisor Rose, second by Supervisor Gersten. Supervisor Rose.
All right, thank you. For many years, as is this year, the county has been advised by Ehlers, public financing advisors. And this evening, I would like to introduce Mr. John Cameron, who is the Senior Municipal Advisor at Ehlers. This is Mr. Cameron's first meeting to this board on behalf of Ehlers. John, would you stand and
He did.
welcome, and I hope you have a lot of questions for John. He's prepared. And he came to our committee with this report. These are the general obligation notes to finance our capital projects for 2023. Notes differ from bonds because they are 10 years or less, and all of the items that we have listed in the report are for a shorter term. There were a few items deleted if you look at the list, and that's why the $16,035,000 is less than the original $19 million plus. The money was determined not to be needed this year. It doesn't mean that they are going to be forgotten about, but since the money was not going to be spent this year, there was no point in financing it. These are all items that the board has previously debated and approved, and we will intend to offer these notes for sale during the summer. If you have any questions, I'm sure John will be happy to answer them. We urge your support for the notes this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Any supervisor comments? Supervisor Thomas.
Yeah. I just have a curiosity question. Maybe you know Supervisor Rose or gentleman from Ehlers. What was the interest rate last year on these type of bonding notes, and what is that interest rate projected to be this year?
Or John, why don't you answer that? I think you'd be a little more precise.
Good evening, everybody. John Cameron with Ehlers. We have an interest rate scale that is from the end of June with an additional 75 basis point cushion built into the presale report for the possibility of additional market movement between now and the time of the sale. The interest rates that you see in the presale report vary from approximately 3.43% up to about 3.88%. In terms of the interest rate on last year's offering, I don't know that off the top of my head, but that's certainly something we can look up and provide.
Last year, approximately 2%.
Supervisor Thomas?
No, I don't have another question. Thank you, though.
Supervisor Gens?
My question piggybacks on the question that was just asked. Rather than looking back, I'm looking forward. So we're gambling with the taxpayers' money that instead of borrowing it this year at these rates, that next year we might get better rates. I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what are the indications, since this is your livelihood rather than mine, of moving forward with that? Because if we would have borrowed more when we could get it at 2%, we would be saving the taxpayers money now. So, I mean, by not doing 3 million or 2 point whatever million, whatever the math is, of the projects that we had already approved, by not getting the money, even though it's not being spent, you know, is it better to just borrow the money because the rates might be lower? What's your take on that?
The last page of the presale report has a 2-year trend in municipal bond rates. And as you look at that from left to right, what I would point your attention to is really where rates have been over the last month and a half, where rates have really stabilized over the last couple of months. In terms of crystal ball for next year, that I can't offer an opinion on. But what I can tell you is that over the last few months, rates have been fairly stable.
So we're banking on them being stable into our next borrowing cycle. Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure we were clear on that.
Chairman, could I add something to that?
Yeah, please
The
do.
problem with borrowing money and not using it as a public entity is that you are now paying interest on money that you're not using. That certainly is not saving any money. So I don't think that's a good idea at all, Mr. Gens.
Okay. Any other supervisors? Any other supervisors? Seeing none, all in favor?
Resolution 39 passes unanimously. Ordinance 5 from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Janet L. Gum and Donna Kirschbaum, owner, requesting a rezoning from A1 Agricultural Preservation District to A1 Agricultural Preservation District, R1 Rural Residential District, R2 Suburban Single Family Residential District, and C1 Lowland Resource Conservancy District in the town of Paris. This passed unanimously at committee. Supervisor Caro excused.
Supervisor Geschke.
Thank you. I move ordinance 5.
Moved by Supervisor Geschke, second by Supervisor Kubicki. Supervisor Geschke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This Gum Kirschbaum property rezoning would allow the owners to consolidate some new land that they purchased along with some existing land that they own, allowing them to rezone and put a single-family residential property on there, along with bringing some other areas of their property into conformity with lowland and conservancy. The owners have been working for quite some time with our Planning and Development Department. This item was tabled before our committee and has come back again. And so they've dotted all their I's, crossed all their T's, and we ask for your support tonight.
Thank
you.
Any supervisor comments? Any supervisor comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Oppose? Passes.
Communications, 24, communication from Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to support the intergovernmental agreement between Kenosha County and the Town of Paris to provide law enforcement services.
Refer to Judiciary and Law Committee.
25, a communication from Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution in support of intergovernmental agreement between Kenosha County and the Town of Randall to provide law enforcement services.
Refer to Judiciary and Law Committee.
26, communication from Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution in support of intergovernmental agreement between Kenosha County and the Town of Wheatland to provide law enforcement services.
Refer to Judiciary and Law Committee.
27, a communication from Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution approving the regular cabaret license for Lily Lake Enterprises LLC, doing business as Lily Lake Resort.
Refer to Judiciary and Law Committee.
28, a communication from Vice Chair Decker and Supervisors Rodriguez, Poole, and Nedweski, a resolution recognizing September 10th through the 16th, 2023 as National Assisted Living Week.
Refer to Executive Committee.
29, communication from Vice Chair Decker and Supervisors Rodriguez, Poole, and Nedweski, a resolution recognizing September 2023 as National Preparedness Month.
Refer to Executive Committee.
Claims, Lori Ann Hugan via Gecko Casualty, property damage.
Refer to Corporation Counsel.
Approval of the June 20th, 2023 minutes by Supervisor Berg.
Supervisor Berg.
I move the minutes.
Moved by Supervisor Berg, second by Supervisor Gens. All in favor? Opposed? Motion to adjourn by Supervisor Rodriguez, second by Supervisor Gersten. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.